recall after delivering my first child feeling as if I were having an out of body experience. It was as if I had detached from my surroundings, hearing sounds I couldn't quite place, unsure where they were coming from or who was actually making them. What has just happened? And now what? I continued this internal monologue as the nurse gently laid my son on my chest, and I noticed a marvel the sonogram didn't catch. He had a dimple peeking through the right side of his cheek. In that very moment, something shifted inside me while in this catatonic like state. A beautiful realization. I am someone's mom. Every one of my actions from this point on involves a lifelong commitment and unconditional love for a baby with a birthmark, a slight indentation on his chubby cheek. Here's the truth. I was not prepared, and no one explained what was happening to me in this moment. I felt a shift inside. I was no longer just the policy expert drafting briefing documents, preparing a speaking engagement, or responding to 1,000 emails after a long weekend. So let's discuss this profound biological, psychological, and emotional transition underway as we continue down the perinatal yellow brick road. I'm Dr. Ab, and this is High Risk and Highly Capable, the show for mothers of advanced maternal age and everyone who loves us. Whenever this episode finds you, whether on a commute, folding laundry, or awake before the rest of the house, take a breath and settle in with me. We've decoded high risk. We've learned to be heard. We've navigated coverage and we've built a care team we are confident in. Today, we turn inward to the part that lives inside me and you, the becoming and the mental health that travels with it. This is the most personal episode I will have recorded thus far. And you may say, well, why? I'm going to get deep. I'm going to bring the data, of course, because that's what we do here. And I'm going to give you something to hold at the end. The word is matrescence. Let me spell it for you. It's Matrescence. Matrescence, the process of becoming a mother. But that short definition sells it short. So let me give you the whole one. Matrescence is a developmental passage, a full stage of life that carries a woman from before conception through pregnancy and birth into the postnatal period after delivery and beyond. And hear what that definition does not require. It does not require that you were pregnant if you came to motherhood through surrogacy, through adoption, through a road that took years and cost you something. You are in matrescence too. This is a rite of passage that belongs to you. This term was first introduced in the 1970s by anthropologist Dana Raphael and later embraced by reproductive psychologist Dr. Aurelie Arathon. And here is why it changes everything once you have it. Matrescence is to motherhood what adolescence is to adulthood. It is a whole developmental passage involving physical, emotional, and even social changes. Researchers describe it as the stretch of the time when your mind and your body are actively preparing you for something new. The work of supporting a life that depends on you. Your hormones shift. Your brain rewires, your body changes. Even your relationships may seem to rearrange, and your sense of who you are gets reconfigured, picked up, and set down somewhere new. And here is the part of the science I most want you at 35 and beyond to carry with you. Matrescence is not a 9-month event. Researchers who study the maternal brain describe hormonal, neural, and cognitive changes that arrive in the short term, pregnancy, and the months after, and then continue across the rest of your life into midlife and later. Motherhood also drops you into a far more complicated world, more to track, more to anticipate, and more people depending on what you remember. Scientists call that increased cognitive load, and they believe it may explain two things at once: why the early month can feel so foggy, and why that same sustained demand carried over decades may build something closer to cognitive reserve in later life. So the mom brain you have apologized for may not decline at all. It may be a brain under heavy load in the middle of a long and remarkable adaptation. And for those of us arriving here later, none of this happens in a quiet room. These changes overlap with the other great hormonal chapters of a woman's life: birth, lactation, and for some of us, perimenopause, showing up sooner than we planned. Researchers are still mapping how all of it interacts. What is already clear is that what is happening to you is bigger and longer than any 6-week checkup was built to hold. We expect adolescence to be turbulent. We give teenagers grace and time and a name for what they're going through. But a grown woman becomes a mother in an instant, and we hand her a gift card or basket of supplies for the baby and expect her to be fine by 6-week checkup. We name the teenager's transformation. We let the mother's unnamed until now. So if you had felt emotionally insecure or disoriented, if you have looked in a mirror after an all-nighter with a fussy baby who finally settles at 3 a.m. and reminisced about the good old days, you are not lost or broken. You are in matrescence. There is the word for it. And saying that out loud is the beginning of extending grace to yourself and demanding it for those around you. So let's get to the data. Now, let me braid in some more evidence for you because I think you might be skeptical. But we always lead with the receipts because this show leads with data and lands with humanity. Maternal mental health conditions are not rare and they are not a weakness. They are the most common complication of pregnancy and childbirth is in this country. It affects around 800,000 families every single year, more common than gestational diabetes, more common than preeclampsia, the most common complication there is. Depression during pregnancy or in the year after delivery touches as many as 1 in 7 of us. Roughly 1 in 5 experience a prenatal anxiety disorder. And between 2016 and 2023, the share of U.S. mothers rating their own mental health as only fair or poor rose by nearly 65. So you're not in the twilight zone. It is happening to a whole generation of us, and the weight is not carried evenly. In this country, somewhere between 29 and 44% of Black women experience postpartum depressive symptoms. Yet, Black women are less likely than their white counterparts to be identified and less likely to receive treatment when they are. The suffering is common, the support is not. And here is the number I need every person listening to me today. Mental health conditions, including suicide and overdose, are now a leading underlying cause of maternal death in the United States. That means the greatest danger to a new mother in her first year is often not a failure of her body at all. It is a condition of the mind that we're working to understand better. Eliminating stigma associated with naming it and writing policies to diagnose and treat sooner. But intention is not the same as arrival, and I will not tell you we are there yet. Here is the failure still underneath the grief. Roughly 75% of women affected by maternal mental health conditions go untreated. 3 out of 4, not because these conditions can't be treated. They are among the most treatable conditions in all of medicine, but because we don't screen or we do so inconsistently. We don't ask, we don't name it. And those affected may be reluctant to tell someone. And here is why the screening piece keeps failing. There is no single unified national screening program required in every clinic in every state. Whether anyone asks about your mental health really depends on where you live and who is sitting across from you. And the gaps run deepest for mothers facing economic hardship and for women of color. Suffering in silence is danger. Let me bring this home to those of us doing this at 35, 40, and beyond. We often arrive at motherhood with a fully built life, a career, an identity, a way of moving through the world that we earned over decades. And Matrescence asks us to hold that self and a brand new self at the same time. The disorientation can be sharper precisely because we had further to fall from I know exactly who I am. And many of us are carrying on both ends at once. Prior to starting my family, I was managing nuances of infertility, which included appointments, needle sticks, and urine samples, while being a daughter who supported my mom as the caregiver to my dad with dementia, caught in what is called the sandwich generation, giving care upward and downward in the same exhausting day. If this is you, hear me. The weight you feel is not a measure of your weakness. It is a measure of your load, and a load can be shared. So we're now at the point of the podcast when we always come with a tool. This tool is central to this episode and is the most essential in the entire series. Let's begin by first learning the line between the baby blues and something more. The baby blues, weepiness, mood swings, feeling overwhelmed in the first couple of weeks are common, and they tend to lift on their own. But if the heaviness lasts beyond 2 weeks, if it deepens instead of lifting, if you can't sleep even when the baby sleeps, if the worry never switches off, or if you ever have thoughts that frighten you, that is not a character flaw, and it is not your failing at motherhood. That is a medical condition asking for medical care, and you are allowed to get it. Second, name it. To those who are a part of your tribe, out loud, share those feelings with your partner, your doctor, a friend who's been there all the way. Matrescence and the conditions that can ride with it feed on silence. They shrink the moment they're spoken. And let me tell you why I trust this move above all others. Women have been doing this for generations, on porches, in kitchens, on the phone, at hours no one else was awake for, long before anyone gave it a clinical name. This is mother wit, the knowing that gets passed down and then said out loud. So when you tell one person the truth about how you are really doing, understand what you are actually doing. You are not being weak. You are not being a burden. You are doing the oldest and wisest thing a mother can do, which is refusing to carry it by herself. I'm sure you have carried a load for someone else. Let this be the season you allow someone to do it for you. And third, write this down. Or better, put it in your phone right now. The National Maternal Health Hotline, which is 1-833 TLC Mama. That's 1-833-852-6262. It's free, it's confidential, it's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you can call or text. And I want to be very clear about who's waiting on the other end of that line because it matters. Not a recording, not a menu. Real trained people, mental health professionals, maternal health providers, and peer counselors who have walked this themselves, whose entire job is to listen to a pregnant or new mom and help her figure out what comes next. They answer in English and in Spanish with interpreters for more than 60 other languages, and they typically pick up within seconds. The people who love you can call it too. You do not have to be in crisis to use it. So, to my mature mom, staring at her reflection in the bathroom mirror at 2 a.m., looking for the self she used to be, you're not gone. You're still there. She is just becoming. What you are feeling is not the end of you. It is the most profound transition a human being can make. And you were never meant to do it in silence. You are allowed to grieve who you were. You are allowed to get help. And you are allowed to believe that the tears will, in time, give way to something steadier. Keep showing up. Keep asking. Keep naming it. Celebrate who you are becoming. I matter. You matter. And a mother's mind matters most of all. I'm Dr. Ad. This is High Risk and Highly Capable. We honor the mind today. Next time, we stay in the postpartum window, but turn from your mind to your body in the most recovery almost no one prepares you for. At every age, at every stage, take care of yourself. You are worth caring for.